Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
Melting snow is normally a relief, but combine that with rain, and it is double trouble. Several Metro Detroit communities dealing with this widespread flooding. Submerged cars, we've got floating trash, people wading through knee-deep water. That's what's going on in some Dearborn Heights neighborhoods throughout the day.
It is really a mess. It's a combination of the rain, snow melting, and the Ecorse Creek nearby getting way too high. Megan Woods has been out there all day talking to families about how they're adjusting. Megan.
Kimberly, it's interesting because we've been out here for hours, and right now we're on Amherst Street near Beach Daily, and a part of the street we've seen the water dry up, but then there's still the part behind me where you can even see in the dark how much water is still left here. There's still, it's trash day, so you have trash bins in the water, and then cars are still partially underwater. It's not going anywhere, and the creek is right to the side here, to the left. So you see that this is a problem, but when we talk to neighbors, they're saying this is part of an even bigger problem. It's inconvenient.
I couldn't even walk. My dogs always potty outside. I had to pick them up and take them to grass that had no water.
They're talking about losing money. Hopefully it don't get into our houses. We couldn't go to work.
And James Monette says it's happening way too often.
I called the police department this morning to just warn them to block the roads off. And they said, oh, what, for the regular flooding?
And that's his biggest problem. He bought his home in 2014 and says every time Ecorse Creek overflows, it pours into his yard and basement.
It's totally frustrating. I don't know what Dearborn Heights City Council or any of the people in Dearborn Heights government are doing about it. It's not acceptable.
The mayor says they've worked out a contingency plan with the waste company to pick up trash once the water's gone down, and are passing out flood mitigation kits and have tow trucks on standby. For long-term solutions, they're working with the Army Corps of Engineers.
So they're working on a design phase right now of trying to do a detention basin off of Inkster and Power Street.
That would cost about $30 million. The city is also in the process of applying for more FEMA grants.
Trying to purchase as many homes as possible in that area so we can demolish them and try to get another detention basin in that area.
And those flood mitigation kits, those were donated by Red Cross and Wayne County. And the mayor says, Dearborn Heights mayor says he's been in touch with the Wayne County executive all day trying to get resources. They're helping out. So that's great. But you can see, again, what these people are dealing with. And they woke up to this in the morning. And here it is tonight. It's not going anywhere. Hopefully in the morning it'll go down and trash companies can come here and clear this up. Reporting live in Dearborn Heights, I'm Megan Woods, Local 4.
In the meantime, just incredibly frustrating as they try to work out a solution. We appreciate you bringing us that report this evening, Megan. Thank you. Well, meantime, a broken water main was the problem over in Northville. Take a look here. The Great Lakes Water Authority says it discovered a break on a 24-inch water transmission pipe on Baseline Road between Novi Street and Oakland Avenue. That happened about 3:30 in the morning. The water was finally shut off 4.5 hours later. Some residents are reporting water getting into their homes. We're waiting for word on further repairs. All right, now let's get a check of the weather with several of those communities on edge. It's more rain in the forecast still.
Been such a mix of problems here. Ron Hilliard in for Kim Adams tonight. Ron.
Devin, Kimberly, where do we begin? We're going to begin, though, with the flood warnings we have across our area. We have them in several communities, including as you get down into Monroe County, anywhere from Tecumseh, as you get into the Rainsville Township area on over to the city of Monroe. We have the Raisin River. The River Raisin, I should say, that is under a flood warning until further notice. Then as you get into the west side of Detroit, we have the Rouge River. That's the northwest side. It goes all the way up to 8 Mile and impacting the border with Southfield. That is until further notice. And then until late tonight, we have concerns with the Clinton River. That's in areas such as Utica. As you get over toward Clinton Township and Mount Clemens, we are concerned about flooding in this area. Then streams are still rising as you get into southern Sanilac and St. Clair County. Then we have the fog as an issue. A few rain showers moving into our area right now. This is going to be very spotty. Tonight we have temperatures that are falling right to around freezing, and that means that we could see some icy conditions out there. Here's a look into downtown Detroit with the fog that's developing. More of that is on the way.
All right, Ron, you can check out the forecast anytime on the Forewarn Weather app. Download it for free in the app stores. Just search WDIV. All right, more fireworks in the courtroom on day 2 of the Jennifer Crumley trial.
The mother of the Oxford High School shooter faces involuntary manslaughter charges. Paula Tutman joins us live with more on what we're learning tonight. Paula.
Yeah, some really interesting things. Start with the fact that Jennifer Crumley's digital footprint has really been the star witness today. And so we're talking about text messages she sent between herself, her husband, and her son, and those she thought she deleted, except for that thing called police forensics. And so I want to set up what you're getting ready to see, because what the prosecution has been showing jurors all day are these text messages that show that as far back as March, Ethan had been saying that he was suffering from mental illness. He saw demons. He thought he heard voices. But they're also juxtaposing that with text messages where Jennifer Crumley appears to be more interested in her horses than her son. He wants to go to the doctor. She wants to take the horses to the vet because one of them is sick. And so this is what happened between the attorneys when the jury was out of the courtroom. I just wanted to give you a sneak peek, and I'll explain it on the back end.
These particular messages are the same time, the same date, where the defendant's son is experiencing or stating that he's experiencing hallucinating. So this is all relevant.
And Your Honor, my point is, on Exhibit 85, there are texts that do not need to be included to make the point that Mr. and Mrs. Crumley were at the barn and not with their son. We're objecting to the texts that include buying beer, being drunk on a horse. They are irrelevant. They are also irrelevant to someone being a hypervigilant parent.
Yeah, so defense attorney is saying that Jennifer Crumley was a hypervigilant parent. This is why this is important, because the prosecution has to walk a very fine line. They cannot put parenting on trial. Many of those jurors are parents themselves. There are 20,000 text messages. They're not trying to get them all into evidence, but this is an argument to try to keep some of them out because of they believe that they'll be prejudicial. Very, very important point that they want to show, the defense wants to show Jennifer in one light, clearly the prosecution in another light, and not putting parenting on trial. That's going to be critical. Guys?
Yeah, another long day of intense testimony and exhibits presented today in court. Paula, we appreciate your report this evening. And if you missed today's testimony, you can watch some of the moments from the courtroom tonight at 8 on Local 4 Plus. And we'll be streaming the trial every day on Local 4 Plus and clickondetroit.com with live reports from the courthouse and expert analysis. You can find Local 4 Plus anywhere you get your streaming channels like Netflix or Hulu.
Late today, a jury ordered former President Trump to pay writer E. Jean Carroll more than $83 million. Very quickly, he released a statement calling the verdict, quote, absolutely ridiculous. It's the second time in 9 months a jury has supported Carroll's claims that she was assaulted by the president and then defamed when he publicly called her a liar. Case dates back to an encounter in a store dressing room back in 1996. These damages are linked to statements the former president made in 2019. Previously, another jury decided the assault did happen. That decision was $5 million, you may recall. Now, this latest case, because he went on to talk about E. Jean Carroll after that verdict, moves it to $83 million. We'll continue to follow it. Donald Trump says he is going to appeal.
All right, the countdown is on. We're about 2 days away from the NFC Championship game between the Lions and the 49ers, and fans across Metro Detroit are making the trip to California for the NFC Championship game.
And Hobie RT caught up with some of them at Metro Detroit Airport ahead of one of the biggest games in Lions history.
The Lions head out west to California tomorrow as they get ready to play in the team's first NFC Championship game in more than 30 years. But when they get there, they'll have a ton of support already as Lions Nation makes the trip out west. Lions fans have traveled well all year, and that isn't changing heading into the biggest game yet.
Go Lions! Go Lions!
Fans all over Detroit Metro Airport making the trip to watch the Lions leap into the NFC Championship.
Whoa, baby, I've been waiting for this my whole lifetime, man. Come on, Lions, baby.
So you saw Amon-Ra St. Brown's hair. Did you think, I got to do that?
Well, Buddy and I from work, we decided if they were going to win this week, that we were going to dye our hair, and I said, let's go. So I was all in.
Lions and 49ers fans alike from Detroit making the journey to the West Coast. How are you a 49ers fan?
Since a kid, from the 80s. I don't know, I just love that team. They're a good team.
Well, growing up, they just picked whatever team was good.
No,
we weren't good. Now we're good. You got what I'm saying? You got to take that shirt off. You got to be a Lions fan. Now, I'm going to convert him on the flight. Don't worry about it.
Detroit, baby, let's go. Detroit.
Like this team in the playoffs, flight and ticket prices are soaring, but fans say this experience is priceless.
Excited to go get this dub and take down the Niners. It's our turn. It's the Lions' turn now.
A trip 3 decades in the making with another to Las Vegas on the line. What would it mean to see this team in the Super Bowl for the first time ever?
I really can't even fathom it. It makes the hairs in the back of my neck stand up. What's blue and what's what?
We got grit and we got Dan the man. It's a wonderful thing. We're going all the way.
Hobie Artigue, Local 4.
That's right.
Detroit Fire. Both teams now, of course, getting prepared for the NFC Championship, trying to stay away from a lot of the hype and talk.
Jamie's here now. The excitement is building. It's almost here.
I can feel it. But I will say Dan Campbell, you could just tell he's ready to get done with this talking.
Yeah.
He's ready for the team to put on the pads and walk the walk. And you could tell today he is amped up. Today was the final day of preparation for the players before boarding the plane for San Francisco tomorrow. Frank Ragnow, Sam Laporta, full participants and expected to play. Jonah Jackson, Khalif Raymond were ruled out. The press conference room was pretty full again today to listen to Dan, but he insists it's still business as usual.
The problem is all this. And so as long as we just stay, and our players know that, and we made that point early, the football stuff is no different than like it was getting ready for Kansas City in week 1. It's identical. And so I feel like we've handled it well.
Niner star wide receiver Deebo Samuel is expected to play on Sunday after fully practicing today. Lions now 7.5-point underdogs. We'll talk more about this coming up in sports.
I never expected Deebo
Any
to
less,
not play,
exactly.
right?
You knew he'd play whether he was 100% or not.
It's too hard to get here. Exactly.